Hey beauties, today I'm going to show you how to achieve this beautiful cool toned silvery grey eyeshadow look. These tones really do suit all eye colours, and for me with brown eyes it really does intensify the brown. Greys aren't tones I tend to reach for very often, but I adore these colours. So the palette I'm using today is the Aim Higher palette by LH Cosmetics. And the first shade I'm going to reach for is Crimp, which is a light grey in a matte finish. And I'm going to be using a bunch of my favourite BK Beauty brushes for this tutorial. If you want to try their eye brushes or any of their face brushes, you can use my discount code to get 10% off at the checkout. I'm taking this grey tone through the socket. We are going to be framing the eye with this matte shade, so it's all going to be about working around the socket and underneath those lower eyelashes just to completely frame the eye in this shade. The brush I'm using is the 202 brush by BK Beauty. So this palette is inspired by a passion for climbing, and it's about taking your looks to new heights. So thinking of rock work and surrounding nature, that's the theme behind this colour palette. Two of the matte shades in this palette can be used as a cake liner. If you're not familiar with that term, it means to use like a matte shade with a liquid in order to turn it into an eyeliner. So you can do this with either a setting spray or a mixing medium such as Duraline by Inglot or Aquasil by Makeup Forever. If you are going to use them for this purpose, I would suggest scraping some of the colour out onto a separate palette, and then that way you're not going to seal the eyeshadow in the pan, which sometimes can happen. So as you can see, we've really taken our time to buff this through the socket. To make sure it's nice and seamless, you want to go in with a clean blending brush. This is the 201 brush by BK Beauty. I now want to intensify this shade around the outside corner of the eye. And to do this, I'm using a smaller brush, which is the 207 brush, also by BK Beauty. I'm taking this underneath those lower eyelashes. I like this because it's slightly smaller and dense, so you can be more precise with it. And then we're also going to make sure we connect that with the outer corner of the top lid, blending that as we go with our fluffy blending brush. So just keep working on this area until you're happy with the intensity. I'm going to keep building this up slowly, and as you can see, that outer edge is becoming more intense. If you want to create more of a rounded eye, you can do so. If you want to elongate the eye and lift the outer corner, create more of a V shape with that colour. I don't believe I mentioned it, but the brand and this particular palette is 100% vegan and cruelty free, so that's really great for those of you that are only into clean beauty. So we're going into our second shade. This is called Beta. This one is a metallic silver grey. And I'm using the BK Beauty 203 brush to pat this on the inner half of the mobile lids. This is going to go up to the halfway point, and then we're going to meet that with another colour in a moment. Now, because this is a metallic shade, you can use a brush, but you can also use your finger. You'll get more of a shimmery payoff or more of a reflective finish when you use your finger. And the only way I can describe why this happens is because you flatten the pigment, whereas with a brush, it almost kind of dusts it on, so it's not sitting quite as flat as it would as if you was to press it flat with the warmth of your finger. This next shade is a dark grey with a silver shimmer to it, and it's really beautiful. We're applying it on the outer edge because it's meeting the area that is the most smoky, which is the outer corner, and then it gets lighter as we get to that inner corner. Crux is the matte black shade in the palette. This is the one that can also be used as a cake liner. And using my number 3 brush from Anastasia Beverly Hills, I'm pressing this really gently along the eyelash line. Initially it will look quite dark, but this is going to be the base for a colour that we're going to apply over the top, and then that way it won't look so intense. But the idea is to apply some shadow here so that the root of the eyelashes looks fuller. So use the tip of this brush to work your way along, making sure it's thinner at the inner corner and slightly fuller on the outer edge. So dipping that same brush into the dark silver grey, which we have on the outer half of the mobile lid, and this is going over the top of that black, so it will look slightly darker than the colour that we've got on the outer half, but it's also toning down that black. So instead we're left with an even deeper dark grey along that lash line rather than black. I'm now taking the Hourglass Voyeur waterproof gel eyeliner. And this is an intense dark black, which is going along the waterline, and we're also going to use it to tightline. So the idea with this is that the smokiness gets darker at the root of the eyelashes, and then as it frames around the white of our eye, it's the darkest, and then it gets lighter as it gets towards the inner corner of the eye. And that's a really nice way to create this beautiful smoke. It goes from that darkest shade along the waterline and your eyelashes, and then it gets lighter as it fades out. You can of course substitute black for a dark grey. You don't even have to apply anything along the waterline if you don't want to. I would advise applying something even if it's a light silver shade because it would just tie everything together. Here I'm dipping my Anastasia Beverly Hills brush into that dark metallic silver grey and I'm smoking out the lash line. We're keeping it quite close to the root of the eyelashes. It's just going to prevent the black looking super stark. Instead it fades down into the dark grey, which fades into that flat matte grey that we applied originally. I'm also taking that on the outer corner of the top lid, again making sure that the outer corner of the bottom lid and top lid meet. That way we get that really nice framing effect around the eye. So just very softly rub this in to deepen that area using the tip of your brush. Next we're going to give our eyelashes a little curl. This is the Rephr eyelash curler. I use it all the time. It's definitely one of my favourites. And then I'm going to apply my mascara by LOUBOUTIN. If you followed me for years, you know this has been a firm favourite of mine. I've recently been using it again. It is super expensive, but I do love the mascara. Today I'm only applying a very light coat of this, just one coat because we're going to be applying some falsies. So once you've applied that to your top and bottom eyelashes, allow it to dry before you go in with your false lashes. As usual, I'm using some of my Pro FX eyelashes by Lash base. I'm using the style Full Glam in black and I'm using medium and large. As always, if you guys are interested in trying these for yourself, I have a 10% discount code. These eyelashes are great. They sit underneath your natural eyelash line. I do have a dedicated tutorial on how to apply these, which I'll link on screen for you now. They come in a variety of different styles and they also come in a variety of different sizes. I always like to start with a medium on the outer corner, then I apply around 3 to 4 large going all the way across and then a medium again on the inner corner. This just works for my eye shape, however if you have slightly smaller eyes you'll want to downsize. If you've got bigger space or bigger eyelids, feel free to size upwards. You don't have to cut them into individual sections the way I have done. You can make slightly larger sections if you prefer. I just feel like with the curvature of the eye, it's easier when you're using smaller sections as opposed to one long section. As you see, they do come on a ribbon, so it's up to you how you cut them. Also, you can apply these on top of your eyelashes. You don't have to apply them underneath, but bear in mind that when you sit them on top, they will come out slightly longer. They've got further to travel underneath your eyelashes. Therefore, when you apply them on top, they tend to look longer. Once they've dried, I like to give them a little squeeze with my eyelash pincher. This just makes them sit a little bit more upright and I really like how it looks. This also helps to seal your lashes to the false ones with the glue. I just decided using my Morphe M124 brush to pat some of a creamy gold on the inner corner of the eyes. I would have liked a very cool tone gold to match with the shades that we've got on the lid, but I couldn't find one, so forgive me, it is slightly warmer, but it still looks really beautiful. It's just a little subtle highlight. So that completes my cool toned silvery grey eyeshadow look. I think it's so pretty. Again, it really does suit all eye colours. I will list and link all the products I've used in the description bar as well as any discount codes. If you like the tutorial, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you are new to my channel, it's free to do so, and you can follow me outside of YouTube over on Instagram at ShowMeMakeup. I will see you in a couple of days with another video. Bye guys!